Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So we've got quite a few folks in today. So my name's Dustin Schisler. I'm a product manager here at Intuit, and today we're going to talk about Pro Tax and Workpapers. I'm going to show you how to prepare, review, and e-file T1 and T2 returns from anywhere using the cloud. Before we get started, while people are trickling in, I'm just curious if anyone wants to share in the chat where they're from and anything they're excited about for fall. We've got fall just around the corner here. Personally, I get excited about the leaves changing color, cooler temperatures, and Halloween. But would love to hear what the group has to say, and we'll get started in about 1 minute here. Okay, a bit of a quiet group today. So why don't we just go ahead and kick things off then, okay? So here. All right, and so today, like I mentioned, the agenda for today is we're going to talk about books to tax in the cloud. So for this session today, I would ask that please don't ask any product-specific questions in the chat. We're going to reserve that just for socializing with each other. Tell us what you're excited about, anything that you want to bring up. And if you do have questions about the product specifically, feel free to click on the Q&A logo there. We do have a panel of experts that will be able to answer some of the questions coming in. So keep those questions coming. Hope to make this as interactive as possible as we go through some of these slides. And then we will also be doing a live product demo at the end as well. Okay, just a reminder that today, this is a live webinar and it is CPD eligible. So you do get 1 CPD credit for joining today. Just as a public service announcement, you do not receive these credits if you watch the recording of the webinar after the live event. So it's just for us that are here right now. And hello, Andrea from Calgary, Alberta. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Yeah, and so at Intuit, we talk to our customers all the time. We work on products and build products with our customers. So thank you for your input if you have been a part of this with us. We really appreciate it. And we've been asking accounting professionals, bookkeepers, and tax preparers for a long time now on you know what they actually need, what they're looking for. And what is it that we're hearing from you? Well, it's this. We need reliability. It's got to be there. It's got to be accurate and reliable when you need it. Completedness, of course, it has to have everything available to serve your clients and their unique needs, because we all know every client's pretty different. And you also need some efficiency, right? You want to do all this stuff fast. Maybe you want to get through tax season to take on more clients and more work, or maybe you want to get through it to relax, hang out with family and friends. Any reason you have to get this stuff done faster, we are here to save you time, and that's exactly what we want to do. And I guess the bottom line here is you just want to get work done, right? And with our books to tax journey, we're providing one place to do it all, which is really great. And so that means you can skip all that manual entry and re-entry, you know, get rid of the import and export woes that come with a lot of books and tax software, and escape that app switch. You know, no more logging into 25 different apps with 25 different passwords for 25 different reasons. With QBOA, with the power of Workpapers and Pro Tax, you now have one place to do it all. No more dealing with thumb drives or emails or any other unsecure system to move data from one place to the next. And we think that this is pretty cool. And so a lot of times, why is this special? Like a lot of times, and maybe folks from the crowd can comment if you feel this statement, but when you're working in books and in tax, A lot of times books are saying one thing and tax is saying the other. It kind of looks and feels a little bit like this, almost as if they're not speaking the same language. It can get pretty frustrating, especially during the crunch season. And so, with our books to tax implementation and integration in QBOA, we think that books and tax are finally speaking the same language, making it a lot easier to go from one to the other. And we do believe that that is pretty fresh. And so we're going to go through some high-level slides now to give you a view of what Workpapers and Pro Tax can do. And then I'm going to jump into the live demo. It looks like our chat's opened up now as well. So thank you everyone for joining in, letting us know where you're from. We got a lot of folks from across the country today. We got Montreal, Mississauga, Slave Lake, Sudbury, Vancouver, Vancouver Island, Toronto, Meadows, BC, Brockville. This is awesome. Johnson from India. Hi, Johnson. We got Chilliwack, BC as well. That is awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's hop into it. So we're going to start in Workpapers, and if you open up Workpapers, and anyone in the audience, feel free to play along if you want. If you have a QBOA account, feel free to jump in and take a look as we go through this. But taking a look at Workpapers, you'll see that some of the work is spread across these 4 tabs here. And so we're going to start with the first one, which is year-end tasks. With year-end tasks, you get a set of customizable checklists that you can easily flip from 3 different statuses to be able to see exactly where this task lies, whether it still needs to be done, we're waiting on something, or it has been completed. You might have had like an Excel spreadsheet or other software to track this before. Some of those can get pretty intricate, but we wanted to simplify that, make it real easy to view, understand, and it's fast, friendly. Everyone in the firm can see it and contribute to the statuses. And I'll get a little bit more into that in the live demo as well. So there's some other cool things inside. It's summary though, it's simple, easy, not overcomplicated, and it's really great for work sharing within the firm. Okay, the next tab we have here is the Documents tab. Great place to secure access to all your documents in one place. Got folders, subfolders. You can add URL links. You can drag and drop items from your computer. You can carry forward these documents from year to year. It's got a bunch of really great stuff in there that's geared for accounting year ends. Also within the Documents section, you can annotate and mark up PDFs. Most people probably won't draw a smiley face on it like I did here, but you can kind of highlight certain areas and make call outs, hand draw, add text. And we've also added the capability to create comments. And these are conversational note style comments. So you can make a comment and people can respond to it within the firm, which is really great. Kind of really deliver what the message is that you're trying to get across, all within QBOA, which is pretty awesome. Great collaboration in the cloud. And just taking a bit of a closer look, as you can see here, this is kind of a look at the panel that would pop open. So you can add a cloud-based conversational note. You can add notes to accounts on the Documents and Review and Adjust tab. It's a lot easier than sending a text. You don't have to pick up your phone and say, hey, Annie, did you send me those T4s over? I don't see them here. You can just ask in product. You can all collaborate at the same time, keep working. Collaboration in the cloud at its finest. So you can post and reply to comments from everyone in your firm, which is really great. You can also leave private notes for yourself as well, if you just want to leave a note so you remember something. Really cool. Review and adjust. This is your trial balance area. You've got multiple review options. You can add more documents here and notes, of course. We do have a trial balance view that you can toggle over to and easily take a look at year-over-year comparisons and any adjustments that were made at year end. You can also, as you can see here, make adjusting journal entries right from here. We did also introduce review and prepare flags. So if you have multiple people working on a file in your firm, you can mark those off as either reviewed or prepared. It does timestamp it as well, so you know exactly when the work was done and who it was done by. Next tab up here is grouping and statements. Here you can create financial statements and condense for your notice to reader or compilation engagements. You can download and export those as a zip file to share with your client. You can kind of condense the view to make it easier, group everything together how you want to group it, and then export it that way. So kind of takes out some of the noise that come in the background of looking up the regular reports, and kind of customize what you want to see and where you want to see it, and then export that entire setting out to share with your clients. Really cool. We do have another tab here on the work papers journey. So once you're completed your working papers, we can map those Giphy codes. And so you can review your Giphies on this income tax tab. You can reassign a Giphy code if it's assigned to the wrong tax line. You can change that. Really customizable in here. And of course, you can also export the Giphy when you're done, or you can start a return right in Pro Tax from the screen. It's that easy. Okay, and speaking of that easy, we're trying to make it really easy to get data in. So of course, when you're starting a return in Pro Tax, you can pull Giphy files from your work papers or QBO client directly from their QBO. You can also upload a Giphy file from another software or a TXT file. You can even start a blank return if you want and start from scratch. This will give you another chance to take a look at the trial balance summary for the QBO file you selected, if that's the case. And if there are any changes needed, you can jump back into work papers or go ahead and start your return. Good call out to make here is that you can Giphy map with T2, but you can also do tax mappings for T21, 25 self-employed returns as well, which is really cool. Great way to get that data over, get started, and get started on your T21, 25 tax returns. It's all right here without having to leave QBOA. All right, so now we're in Pro Tax. This is just taking a look at the dashboard for T1s. A lot of great options here that I'll go over in the live demo as well when we get time to it. We've got a bevy of tax settings to customize the settings for your firm. Great place to organize your work for the day. Couple of other cool actions, like you can batch action carry forward your returns, as well as authorize a rep. And of course, jump right into the return from the screen as well. Some cool sorting options for sort by year or by status, where we're at in the return. And of course, you can search by client name. So if you have a huge list of returns you're working on, you can search for those. You don't have to keep scrolling and look. Just a reminder, like I mentioned before, this, Pro Tax, it does work with clients who are not on QBO as well. So we don't have to pull data in using work papers. You can start a blank return, import a Giphy file or TXT file, and you can import returns from other tax software as well. All right, trying to simplify preparation. So we do have two different views of a tax form while you're working on it. You can work on the data entry fields, which you see here, as well as jump across to the PDF view, which I'll show you in the live demo. But making it easy to see where you're working and what you're working on, switch over to the PDF view just to make sure that everything looks as you expect it to be. And if you take a look at these gray arrows here, we call these jump links. So as I mentioned, if you're pulling data in from QuickBooks Online clients, there may be a field that has a calculated value in it, and that's being pulled from the QBOA file. Well, if you click on this gray arrow or the jump link, it will actually take you to where that data field is entered in the QBO client file. So you can make any changes there or see the data source. And of course, our calculations are powered by Intuit's strong tax engine, as some of you may know, powering TurboTax and Profile. We do also have a very trusted auditor. And this can kind of show you any sort of issues that could stop you from filing a return, or warnings, which would be something that the calculation engine picked up that should need your attention, as well as sign-offs and overrides that are within the firm. Like I mentioned, a lot of really cool tax settings available. One I want to call to attention during the slide section here is we have preparer settings and preparer info. So now you can add preparer info under settings once for all returns, and this will get carried across to your authorizations form. So for example, the RC71, enter it once, set it and forget it. And this does include rep ID, group ID, business number, and discounter information. It's also going to pull in your preparer name, group, firm name, and phone number. Really cool stuff. Another time-saving feature. Speaking of which, we also have family returns, so you can link returns from a family. Using the tabs at the top, you can actually jump between two open returns at the same time, which is really cool for cloud-based tax software to be able to do that. And you can link spouses or dependents to drive some additional tax savings with your clients. We also offer pension splitting optimization in our T1 module. So as long as if you have a family or linked returns between a spouse, two spouses, and one receives pension, you can add a 1032 form for a pension splitting. And when you do that, the system picks that up and will actually offer pension splitting optimization. And so what this does is once you get in here, we can suggest the pension transfer amount to use to optimize the return for your clients. Very easy to see what those savings are over on the right-hand side, total savings, as well as a summary of what happened and how much is being saved. That's great for sharing with your clients if you want to have that kind of conversation with them. Not only that, but if you take a look at the suggested transfer and think that you could find some additional savings by raising or lowering it, we also have this calculator column. And in this calculator column, you can enter in your own transfer amount, and it will kind of show you what the combined net benefit would be for that transfer amount. And if that one looks a little bit better, then you can optimize with your self-calculation. QuickBar is one of my favorite features in Pro Tax. It looks like a search bar, but it's a whole lot more. It's kind of like an action launcher. So you can use it to navigate around the product. You can jump between tax lines. You can add forms and schedules using the QuickBar. Basically, if you can think it and you can type it, you can do it in the QuickBar. Really great. If anyone here is currently using Pro Tax and hasn't tried this feature yet, highly recommend it. It's a great way to learn the software really quick and find everything that you're looking for. We do also have a feature called Quick Mode, which can save some data by pausing calculations. So it slows down the number of calculations. So it's not going to calculate every time you move from tax field to tax field. Just for a ballpark example, it would be, say, every 5 or so. That way it's using way less bandwidth. There'd be less lag on your form. And by the time you're done, everything's all caught up. So it's just improving the speed, especially comes in handy if you're in a low bandwidth area in rural Canada. Sometimes the internet can be a little bit slower. And this is just another method to speed up your work and help you get those returns done a little bit quicker if internet is your issue or an issue. And we do also have some cool features here too, one called Live Auditor. So it's just like the auditor that I was talking about before, except this will actually troubleshoot faster. So it does it right in the form with real-time diagnostics. So as you're working through your return, it's going to show you anything that's an issue or a warning and provide suggestions on how to fix it. Really cool feature that we have. Definitely check that out if you haven't used it yet. And then we also have another feature for overrides where instead of having to like you can make an override for a calculated field, which can be difficult in collaboration setting. But with this new feature, what you can do is you can actually delete the override As you can see the little trash can there. And once you delete the override, it'll restore that calculated field back to its default value. So you don't have to look around for what it used to be. You can just kind of delete the override and move on. Okay, we do also support T2 FRRMS, which is Foreign Revenue Reporting Management System. So there is a document section in Pro Tax. And in this document section, particularly in the T2 area, you can view shared documents. You can select forms for submission. So you can select documents and attach them to a T106, T1134, or T1135 info return. You can also see what's already been transmitted to the CRA as well. We do give you a chance to review your documents before submitting them. And you can actually submit them independently from the return as well. So if there was a document that needed to be sent in conjunction with a return that was already submitted, you can go ahead and submit those e-documents independently. Speaking of documents, we introduced about a week ago a new feature that will allow you to send and receive documents to and from your QuickBooks Online client right on the tax return, which is really cool. This is a capability that existed in QBOA. So you can send and receive documents as well as request documents from within the QBOA section. But we were thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if you could do that right within the return? No need to go back out, leave the return, go into QBOA, look for the client, send and receive a document. We've brought all of that right into the return in Pro Tax, which is really cool. So now there's a section for documents that are in the return. So in the return are documents that have been uploaded or shared by members of the firm. And QBO are ones that are shared between the firm and the client. And so we kind of have a bunch of shared access document folders at our fingertips now, making our workflow a little bit easier. And not only that, but you can also make a request. So if there's some missing documents that you don't have from a QBO client, you don't have to give them a call, manually type them an email, whatever your method is. This should hopefully be a lot quicker and easier. You can click that request button, send over a request to your client. So in this example, I have, hi there, can you send me your T4, please? I could actually upload a sample file of a T4 if I wanted to as well. Send that to them. And what that's going to do, if we have this notify client option checked, it's going to give them an email to their email on file. And it has a link in it that they can click on that'll take them directly to the section in QBO where they can upload those requested documents. And of course, you can e-file. And when you do, we give you a real easy to read return summary on the left, as well as a form preview on the right. That way you can take a look at the form preview, make sure that it's filled out how you expected it to be, accurate, complete, all the numbers are in the right spot, which shouldn't be too much of a worry, but sometimes we like to double check things ourselves just to make sure, right? And so the great place to do it right before you hit that file return button. And I do also want to call out, if you look on my screen, you can see there's an invoice client button as well. So what this does is it allows you to actually invoice your T2 client directly, and it will send them an invoice all without leaving Pro Tax. So kind of integrated capability from QBOA, which is really great. We also support T3 e-file in our T3 trust module. We do have a full form set for English Canada. We have a really cool option called T3 Express, which is similar to the T1 Express, which I'll show you in the live demo as well. And you can actually start a T3 from a T1 if need be. In our T2 module, we also support web access code filing. So some people may not have an e-file account. Maybe they're just getting started in taxes. Whatever the reason is, we got you covered here. So you can actually check off the web access code button. And if you don't have a web access code already, you can leave that field blank and we'll get one for you so you can file the return, all without leaving Pro Tax. And of course, print. And when I say print, because we are a cloud-based solution, when you go to print, you can save a PDF as well. So when I use the term print, it's print or save for office keeping. But there's a lot of powerful customization options for your firm. So you can choose predetermined print sets, such as a CRA print set, client print set, or one for the office. You can customize it and it will be consistent year over year. So you can customize print sets for your firm on the firm level as well as on the client level for each client and save that. It'll be consistent year over year. And consistency is always good. You can even share it across client. All right, and so question time. Anyone in the audience know what this is? Feel free to use the chat if you have an answer. Got some answers coming through here. Client letter, yeah, okay. Awesome, yeah, and has anyone in the crowd had to write a client letter like this before? Not fun, not fun. And you know, you shouldn't really need a computer science degree to prepare client letters. You know, I don't think anyone will dispute that fact. And so how do we make this a lot easier? Well, I'd like to show you QBOA client letters. So this is what our work papers in Pro Tax QBOA client letters looks like. We provide out-of-the-box templates like notes to the financial statement, compilation engagement reports. And the way this works is on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of variables, some from your firm, some from the client's books, some from tax returns. And you can drag and drop these variables and share these templates across clients, and it will use the client data, pull that information in on the variable. So real easy way to streamline, create some templates, use them across your clients to drive some consistency. And it's that easy. It's actually pretty fun to drag and drop that stuff around. And I'll show you a little bit more of that in the live demo coming up. Coming up right now. Okay, great. So just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to switch screens here and we'll jump into the live demo. Okay, so I am going to go into my client list. And what I'm going to do for the demo today is I'm going to start in the T2 module and then jump across to T1. Because I want to make sure I show what the books to tax workflow looks like. So I'm actually going to look for a client here, and I'm going to pick Heart and Hardware. Okay, so now I'm in my client Heart and Hardware's QBO account. I'm going to go into Work Papers. Okay, great. And so these tabs might look familiar from the slide presentation we went through. So just kind of wanted to show you more interactive than on the slides. Taking a look here, like I mentioned, you can drag and drop these in different orders, change the status of your year-end tasks. We have to do, waiting, and done. Real easy to see exactly where you stand on any of these tasks. You can quickly add one if you like to, and it'll show up there. As I called out as well too. You can also add link names or URL names if there's some reference material that you want to keep track of. And of course, you can also add tasks from a template. So you could look for tasks that you set up in one client, and then you can bring those in from that particular client and have the same sort of task list for each client. Makes work sharing a lot easier. Again, drives that consistency across all clients. Moving over to the document section in Workpapers, it's all about supporting documents. How can we get these supporting documents fast and easy? Well, in here, you can automatically create folders based on the chart of accounts. Well, we do rather, so you don't have to. And you know, you can kind of think of this area kind of like a Google Drive. You can drag and drop from the Finder right into the folder. You can add URL links here as well to documents. Like I mentioned, you can also annotate on PDF documents as well. So it's a really great way to organize documents and links for the client as you're preparing their year end. And you can also carry these folders over year, which is awesome. As well as I should mention probably that you can do a large download and export everything to a zip. All right, next up is review and adjust. So here we can review and make some changes or adjusting journal entries. Like I mentioned before, this is kind of your trial balance area to take a look at. You can adjust line items by making an adjusting journal entry. And of course, there's a trial balance view that you can toggle on and off. This will give you a little bit more insight into the year over year. So I'm just going to click on that to show you what that looks like. So now you can see I have ending balance debits and credits, beginning balance debits and credits for the tax year I'm working on, as well as the previous year, and any sort of year over year changes and adjusting entries that were made along the way. Grouping in statements is a great place to customize your, well, exactly that, your groupings of the accounts, as well as export for some statements. Group them together. You can kind of drag and drop these around however you see fit, move them into other folders. And then once you have them how you like, you can click on Books to Tax Actions and click Download to Zip. And that's going to export all of those adjustments that you made, as well as the order. And it's going to truncate it in your Excel sheets and condense it so you can expand, kind of get rid of some of the white noise that can come with some reporting and focus in on what you want to focus on. So you can kind of expand and collapse for what you need. It also has some important lead sheets and documents for the client in there as well, like notice to reader and statement of retained earnings. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to income tax, and this is where we do our tax mapping. In this particular case, we're working on a T2 file. So if you did want to remap a tax line, you can do that by clicking on the little pencil icon here to edit it. And then let's say I wanted to change this to a different cash account. Just go there, click it, and it'll change for me. And then I can review my accounts, go through. I would, you know, if this was a real tax return, I'd probably take this a little bit more seriously. I have all these unmapped accounts. So you can go in and you can map those to the right tax line. Once you're ready, you can click Start the Return in Pro Tax. Okay, so now what it's doing now is it's taking that Giphy data, it's pulling this data in for me into Pro Tax. You can see it's going to default my year start and year end date. That's based on what my QBO client is set up for. So, you know, a couple less clicks of having to do that. Now I can see my trial balance summary. I'm going to take a look at the code and the balance on each one of these. If it looks good to me, then I am going to hit continue and start my return in Pro Tax. If not, I can go back into Workpapers and make any adjustments that I need to. Okay, great. So my return has started in T2. So just want to take a look here really quick and show you. So as you can see, we have the data input fields here. All of these are different forms and schedules, as well as your main T2, of course. And so by clicking through these, you can see the different sections of what would be equal to the PDF form. But if you're used to working on PDF forms, you can also flip back and forth. And so you can flip over to a PDF view, and you can see what that T2 corporation income tax return looks like on the PDF. Maybe this is what you're used to, or want to double check and make sure that is being filled out correctly as you're entering the data. You can do that. We have both views here. Here is the quick bar that I mentioned earlier. So you can click on there and you could type in whatever you'd like. So for this example, I can type in S100 and I can just jump to the S100. You'll see it took me right here in the list, which is really cool. If I wanted to add a form, I can also do that as well. So say I wanted to add the F88, I can just click on that. You'll see that it's added right here onto the form and into my return. Very cool stuff. And so I want to also show you while we're in here, live auditor. So actually, maybe I'll start with the regular auditor. So click on auditor. So, forms, and we have data input in PDF forms. We also have the auditor section, which is categorized by issues, warnings, sign-offs, and overrides. Like I mentioned, issues are things that will stop you from e-filing your return and are marked in red. Warnings will be marked in yellow, and these are things that the tax engine picked up that should probably have your attention. Sign-offs are anything that we signed off on, and overrides are where we overrode some data with a new value. And so as you see here, you can take a look at the issues, and you can actually click on the issue that you want to try and fix. And it's going to take you to where that lives on the tax return. So you don't have to go looking for it or searching for it. It's going to take you right there. And the live auditor just kind of steps that up a notch. So you can click on the live auditor. Now it's going to show you all the issues and warnings that I need to work on here. So a bunch more at my fingertips. It's going to allow me to get through the tax return a lot quicker and have more time to spend with my family for sure. Right next to that live auditor option is quick mode as well, which I was talking about, which can speed up how you get through the return by pausing calculations or slowing the calculations down a little bit. Again, useful for anybody that's in a low bandwidth rural Canada area. Okay, and then when I'm ready to e-file, I can go ahead and click e-file T2. This is where I can use my e-file number that I have in tax settings like I showed you before, or we can use a web access code filing as well. Like I mentioned, leave this field empty and we'll request one and fill it in for you. So you can use a web access code for your filing, which is really awesome. Okay, and so what I'm going to do next is actually let's take a look at this document section here. So like I mentioned before, in the return, these are all files that have been uploaded by the firm. Only the firm can see these. None of them are listed in the QBO client account. So you don't have to worry about them popping up there. This is for firm only, so you can share documents. And then we also have an in QBO tab as well. And on this in QBO tab, these are the documents that your client would have uploaded for you. And so the client can see these, but it is, of course, it's a two-way street, so you can send and receive. So the client can upload documents for you, and you can upload documents for the client. And once they're in here, you can download them if you like, or attach them to a tax return. Like I mentioned as well, we do also have a really cool update as of last week that you can request a client document as well. So So you can click here, type in your client name, title, due date, as well as any details about the request. And as long as you have this notify client checked off, you can click share, and they will get an email notification with a link that they can click on that will take them directly to the shared folder in their QBO file. Okay, and now I'm going to back out of T2 because I did want to show you a couple things with our T1 module as well. So taking a look, this is a T1 dashboard. Like I mentioned, you can carry forward returns in a bulk action. You can search by client name if there's a specific client that you're looking for. You can filter by tax year as well. You can also filter by status. So if you only want to see items that are in progress from 2021, you can do that as well. As mentioned, you can import returns from Profile, as well as carry forward returns from other software. And from this screen, you can also create a T1 personal or a T2125 self-employed return, all within the T1 dashboard. So I'm going to just open, actually, before I do that, I want to go into tax settings because there's some cool stuff in here as well. So in tax settings, we can put in our e-file number and password. Again, set it once and forget it. Same with our prepare info. So information here for authorization forms and business consent, it's all here. Enter it once, set it and forget it. We, of course, support T3s as well. And so your T3 settings will be in here for if you need a transmitter number, you can fill out your transmitter address and any contacts that are required for CRA as well. And then, of course, like I mentioned, we have some powerful print customizations. So, you can come in here, you can choose the print set that you want to customize. And you can add additional forms. You can uncheck a form if you don't want it to be in there. You can drag and drop the order as well. So if you want certain things in a certain order, you can fully customize that for your firm. And so these are the firm level settings. So once you set it in here, it'll be the same for the firm across. But then you can also customize these as you're printing for your client as well. Really cool stuff. And then, of course, letters. I got to make sure I show this, and it's here. There's a couple different access points to letters. So there's one in the settings, there's one in accountant tools, and then there's one on the Workpapers home screen as well. So a couple different ways to get in here. And I'll show you what this looks like here. So I'm just going to open up just an older letter that I have, and I'm just going to take some stuff out to show you how we can customize this. So here we have a client letter. As I mentioned, you can see the variables here. You can search by variable if you're not seeing exactly what you're looking for. You can expand these. There are a few more under there as well. And it's that simple. You can drag and drop a variable and it'll pull that information from its original source. So say I wanted to sign this letter by my firm, drag this prepare firm variable to the end, and then we can leave it there and it'll pull that information in from your QBOA account. Custom headers and logos are definitely a thing in client letters. You can stand out from the pack and make your client letters look professional. With one click of a button, it's going to pull in your company logo from QBOA, as well as the pertinent variables from your QBOA firm as well, like street address, city, province, postal code. You can also set up some tables in here as well. So say I wanted to add a table with some different variables in it or just words in it, I can pick and customize how I want that table to look. So in this case, I'm going to do a 3x3. There we go. I'm going to say hi because this isn't a real client letter, but just to take a look, like you can drag and drop these different variables within the chart itself as well, which is really cool. And then, of course, delete and customize it as needed. Once you're done, you can save the template. Everyone in the firm can access it. You'll be able to see that in your letters area here. So you can see I have a few different copies of this client letter, but you can. What I also want to show you is that we do have a bunch that come out of the box created by Intuit for you in conjunction with CRA, of course. So T2 tax letter, compilation engagement letter, T1 tax summary, engagement letter, checklists, the list goes on, and you can make whatever client letters and templates that you want as well, which is really cool. You can just start from a blank template, click add a template here, and then you're off to the races, and you can customize a client letter. All right, so I'm going to just jump into this return. Apologies, I think my VPN just disconnected here. But hopefully everyone can still hear me. Feel free to jump into the chat if not. But here we have Heart and Hardware as a client. And what I can do, what I wanted to get to and show you here is, first of all, the T1 Express. And so the T1 Express, what it does is take most of the most common fields of entry and usage for T1 returns and puts them all on one screen. And the hopes is that you can fly through a T1 return as quick as lightning. It's got all these different categories and sections here that'll hopefully at least help you get started, if not complete a return. And what I, excuse me, what I did want to show you here is the ability to link a spouse or dependents to a T1 return. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to link a spouse. So I'm going to choose spouse from the drop-down menu. And then I am just going to type in my client's name because I know who it is. And then I'm going to choose a return. I'm going to pick this one here. Okay, and now you'll see that I have two different returns open. So now these are grouped together as a family return, linked return. And so if you add dependents who have like unused tax credits, that can get some additional tax savings for the parents, as well as unused disability credits from the parents could generate some tax savings for the dependents as well. And what I want to show you now that these two are connected, just because we're running a little close to time, so I'm going to try and get through the rest of what I wanted to show here, is I wanted to show you pension split optimization. So going over to Craig's landscaping here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use QuickBar to look for the T1032 form. Okay, and you'll see that this has now added my T1032 form, which is the joint election to split pension income for 2021. I have Craig marked off as a pensioner. I'm going to just jump over to my other client here, the spouse. I just want to make sure that I have that form for them as well too. I'm going to add that. Okay, and they are by default listed as the pensionee. Okay, so just jumping back over to Craig's landscaping here. Now that I'm on the T1032 form and I've declared who is who in this linked return, I can click on this blue light bulb over here and see what options are available for pension split optimization. All right, and so you can see we have some numbers coming up here. Our suggested transfer is $12,073.36, which would give our clients a combined net benefit of savings of $850.89. You can see here I was kind of playing with the calculator before we jumped into the live demo here to see if I could get anything closer. And you can see that you can kind of play around with it to see how you would get. Okay, and then once I have an optimization that I think is good, what I can do is click optimize, and that's going to pull in that transfer, and it's going to reduce the amount owing by that amount for tax savings. So I'm going to go ahead and click optimize. Okay, and you can see, hopefully you caught that, but that taxable amount was reduced for Craig's Landscaping. So overall savings for the customer. That's pretty cool. So I hope you enjoyed the live demo. I'm just going to jump back over to the slide deck now to wrap up in the next 5 minutes here. And so if you do want to learn more, if you like what you saw and want to learn a little bit more, feel free to scan this QR code. We do have a big library of YouTube videos that you can check out at Intuit Accountant CA, or scan the code there, or you could search how to use QBOA Pro Tax on YouTube. I think there's 80+ videos on there. Anytime we put out a new feature release, we'll do a demo video for it as well, which will be there. So great place to stay up to date. If you want to get more visuals over the what's new option, to look at the release notes. Also, if you are currently using Pro Tax and you run into a little bit of trouble, there's lots of ways to get help. You can click that Pro Tax help menu at the bottom, and it will have a direct number to Pro Tax support, a direct link to chat with a support agent, as well as a link to our online help hub, where you can search dozens and maybe even hundreds of help articles, how-tos, to learn a little bit more about Pro Tax. And you might even find a couple answers to questions you have along the way there as well too, which is great. And so we at Intuit, like I mentioned, we always build with our clients, with our customers, with our friends, and that's all of you. And so feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address is right there. I'll get a QR code for next time to make that a bit easier. Feel free to write that down. If you have a great idea, if you have further questions or just some feedback in general about Workpapers, Pro Tax, or this webinar, even my haircut, whatever it is you want to talk about, I'm here to talk with you. I love speaking with customers. We often do a lot of customer sessions and testing as well as we build products. So, that could be something you reach out about as well. We're always looking for customers to do sessions with. And you get compensated for your time, so you can't beat that. So feel free to reach out. You can also join us on QuickBooks Online Accountant Canada Insiders group on Facebook. A lot of good stuff going on there, user-based community, but we'll also come in and ask questions of the group as well. So feel free to come there and get involved, and also leave us some feedback. Feedback is a gift, I always say. I definitely read everybody's feedback that comes through, as well as survey data. So keep that information coming. We love to get better, and getting better is hard to do without getting feedback from people. So please keep the feedback coming. We really appreciate it. Okay, and that is going to conclude our webinar for today. I hope everyone had as much fun as I did. And I really hope that everyone gets a chance to try Workpapers as well as Pro Tax. And again, like I mentioned, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly with my email on the screen here. So again, thanks for joining. Hope everyone has a very happy Wednesday today, and looking forward to the fall season coming up. So thanks, everyone.